Welcome to We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat has true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. That way, you can speak freely and message privately. So, download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also want to thank Patriot Mobile and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these incredible videos. And if you don't patronize our sponsors, well... we know where you live. Oh, look who's unhappy about the downsizing and hopefully the eventual elimination of the Department of Education.
NEA delegates, we can do this work. We must do this work. We get to do this work. We will do this work because our students are depending on us to win all the things. NEA, we have to win all the things. All the things. All the things. Our colleagues are depending on us to win all the things. Keep going, NEA. To preserve our democracy, we must win all the things. Delegates, we won't go back. We will keep going forward because we are the NEA. We are the NEA. We are the NEA. And that's what we do. We cannot fear the future. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Say the words. Say the words. Say them. You are powerful. You are the NEA. Hold your head high. Hold your head high. NEA. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Hold your head high.
This is the first anniversary of the attempted assassination of President Trump, then candidate Trump, that took place in Butler, Pennsylvania.
On this one-year anniversary of Butler, what was going through your mind this morning when you woke up? I know that you're praising God you're alive, but a lot of people want to know how you're taking this day on this one-year anniversary.
God was protecting me. Maybe because God wanted to see our country do better or do really well, make America great again. But God was protecting me, Brian. I'll tell you, it's the more you think about it, the more you see it. But no, I don't like to think about it much. You know, I have a job to do, so I don't like to think about it much. It's a little bit of a dangerous profession being president, but I really don't like to think about it too much. I think you're better off not thinking about it.
And what have we learned since then? Well, turns out the Secret Service denied or left unfulfilled at least 10 requests from Trump's detail for additional resources, including enhanced counter-drone systems, counter-assault team personnel, and counter-snipers. And get this, days before the campaign rally, Secret Service officials were briefed on classified intel related to a threat on Trump's life. But few involved in Trump's security operation were aware of it. But for the presence of the counter-sniper, Trump could have been killed, and the counter-sniper was there only because normal protocol was thankfully not followed.
It's a little bit of a dangerous profession being president, but I really don't like to think about it too much.
Now let's talk about Jeffrey Epstein.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story?
I don't understand
about how it's been handled.
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. and I don't understand why it keeps going. I think, well, really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say let them have it.
Now, as to the Jeffrey Epstein list or the Epstein files, here is what the left is hoping.
So, I mean, there's a very legitimate question here. Number one, was she lying then or is she lying now? She's the Attorney General. I do think she should go in front of Congress and sort of just explain the facts here, because ultimately it is a big question. Was she just prancing around making things up? You're not really supposed to do that as the Attorney General. And then second of all, I just say, you know, everyone's acting like they don't know what the conspiracy theory is. The conspiracy theory is that the client list has Donald Trump on it, and that's what his government is holding it back. And I think we need to have people honestly answer questions in front of Congress or the press to just have this out once and for all.
Really, even if there is a list and Trump is on it, it doesn't mean proof that Trump did something horrible or worse, illegal with a minor. Why do we know this? Because if that were true, Biden would have put it out, especially during the 2024 campaign. And AOC has used this as an opportunity to falsely refer to Trump as a rapist. Wow. Who would have thought that electing a rapist would have complicated the release of the Epstein files? Attention, AOC. ABC settled Trump's defamation lawsuit for $15 million when George Clintonopoulos referred to Trump as a convicted rapist. ABC paid the $15 million. Do you have $15 million? Obviously, you are daring Trump to sue you. This was even too much for Chris Cuomo.
AOC has had nothing to say about the attacks on the ICE agents. Can you believe that? But the Epstein fiasco gets her attention. You see what she posted today? Wow, who would have thought that electing a rapist would have complicated the release of the Epstein files? Hope it goes viral, because that's all you're about. What have you ever done to fight for the release of the Epstein files? Huh? You sent out a few tweets over the years just to try to what? Ride the wave? Where are your resolutions? Where are your speeches on the floor? Where are your demands? Nothing. Just like the rest of your propaganda and your false promises. It's great for you for being developing a following, but it's not much in terms of being a leader when you get nothing done and you just play the game of advantage. You are no better than the people you think you oppose on the right.
You see, what people like AOC are saying is that they have something that would have torpedoed Trump's reelection, but they sat on it. Why? It might have made some Democrats look bad. Please. They would have put it out if it made Dr. Jill look bad. Remember when A.G. Bondi said this?
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
But then...
In February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
Look, when Trump wants this out, it'll go out.
This isn't something that's going to clean up quickly.
Yeah, and Alyssa, I mean, here's the thing. It's not just Pam Bondi, right? It's Dan Bongino. It's Kash Patel, the FBI director. It's Vice President J.D. Vance. There are a whole bunch of people who have been out there saying for years that the Epstein files, all this information that has yet to be released that could expose names of people who did some pretty horrible things possibly, that all needs to be brought into the open. And yet, I want to play something President Trump said back in 2020 when you worked for him in the White House. He was asked about the arrest of Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell for these horrific crimes involving young women and sex trafficking. Take a listen as to what the president said about her going to prison.
I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
I wish her well is an interesting to say about somebody who went to prison for sex trafficking. But beyond that, this is the only time I can think of President Trump who seems to really care what his base thinks and wants. Sometimes even to the point that I wouldn't say he's afraid of them, but he wouldn't do something that, like, for instance, would make him a historic president with like a immigration agreement or something, because the base would be mad at him for it. But he keeps going against his base here. Why?
I remember that press conference well, and I remember being in upper press in the West Wing and being a bit stunned by that statement because, to your point, the MAGA base has felt so strongly about Jeffrey Epstein since his crimes came to light. And this has been sort of a rallying cry on the right. There's been some of it, by the way, well documented, his crimes, others that kind of turn over into the conspiracy space, thinking that prominent left-wingers are going to get wrapped up in this sort of network that he was associated with. But this is the first time I can really remember that Trump is sidestepping his base and not doing what they're very vocally asking him to do. And so as there's these calls now by some on the right for Pam Bondi to step aside or to resign and be fired, the thing I would say is if Donald Trump wants all of the information the government has on Jeffrey Epstein to be released, he can make that available. He can direct the Attorney General to release it. He can move to whether it may be law enforcement sensitive to declassify that and make it public. So the fact that he's not, I think, raises a lot of questions, and this is an issue this White House is not going to be able to make go away overnight. This would be a convenient time. Another White House would be able to say, hey, the Department of Justice is independent. We don't tell them what to do, but that is not how this DOJ and this White House operate. So folks are going to expect Donald Trump to weigh in on this.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's very easy for the Laura Loomers of the world or whomever to blame this on Pam Bondi.
And this, by the way, isn't over.
What would be your advice? Given this back and forth, we're just coming off of Turning Point here in Tampa. This was the topic of conversation. What would be your advice in order to take the temperature down on this issue from within the administration?
Well, I do think that there needs to be more transparency on this. And I think that will happen. I mean, look, I don't know what truly exists there, but I know that this is something that's important to the president as well. He does want transparency on all these fronts, everything we're talking about, because it's frustrated him as well. He sat for 4 years like the rest of us did and saw lie after lie and saw our country just being sent down the wrong path. And it was really frightening and very upsetting to a lot of people to see. And I would actually say over the past 10 years, we've all kind of endured this. Prior to that, it was probably happening, Benny, but we just weren't as aware of it. It wasn't until Donald Trump came down that golden escalator that he just kind of blew the doors off of everything. And people started to wake up and realize, wait a minute, things are not as they have always been presented to us. And I do believe that you will see that. Now, as it relates to the president, I know that this is probably not his number one thing he's focused on. He's focused on a lot of other important things. We've got this big announcement with Russia going on, I think, as we're speaking right now at the White House. We have, a Middle East. We're trying to get peace over there. We're trying to make sure that Iran's nuclear arsenal is obviously completely decimated. We want to make sure everything is on the right track for this country. Fortunately, you've seen no border crossings in the last month. 0, by the way. I think that's incredible. No one's talking about that enough. 0 illegal border crossings in the month of June. Amazing how that's all gone. So I don't know that this was top of mind for him, but he hears all the noise and he hears all of the consternation out there. And I think he's going to want to set things right as well. So I believe that there will probably be more coming on this. And I believe anything that they are able to release that doesn't, damage any witnesses or anyone underage or anything like that, I believe they'll probably try to get out sooner rather than later because they hear it and they understand it. So hopefully we see that happen sooner than later. And I guess that would be my advice. But to everybody out there who's all worked up about it, there's no great plot to keep this information away that I'm aware of. I do just believe that maybe it's been slow rolled for reasons that hopefully we understand down the line. And I think we're probably going to get more transparency on it very soon.
Plenty was said this last weekend at our event about Epstein. Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands.
Supposedly, the MAGA base is deeply upset about this. Is it?
Well, it tells us that Dan Bongino got shafted, completely shafted. And I'm saying this as a friend of his and someone who respects and likes him, but also just as an observer, an informed observer of it. So Pam Bondi, who's, by the way, I don't hate Pam Bondi. She's a totally nice person. If she was here, you would enjoy, I don't know if you know her, but she's a very nice person. I'm not against Pam Bondi in the slightest. But the fact is, she got on television on Fox News and started saying stuff like, I've got the client list on my desk. And actually, no, you don't. And I've got thousands of videos of Epstein having sex with kids. Well, actually, no, you don't.
I mean, look, I think this one surprised me a bit because of all these complaints online going after Trump and the Epstein files. You might think his approval ratings were going down, Republicans. If anything, they're going up. Republicans who approve of Trump, look at our CNN poll. The prior one, 86%. The one out this week, 88% were Republicans. How about Quinnipiac? The prior poll, 87% approve of Republicans. This week out, 90% were Republicans. If anything, Donald Trump's approval rating has gone up since this whole Epstein saga started. He is at the apex, or close there too, in terms of his popularity with Republican voters, Epstein files, complaints, or not.
You just proved that not everything online is real in real life.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Twitter and X are not reality.
Is there any reason that you can find that this hasn't taken hold and hurt him?
Yeah. I mean, on X, all you hear about is the Epstein files. But how about out in the real public? Republicans who said the top issue was Epstein case. The answer is one, and not 1%. One respondent. This is a great little finding that Ariel Edwards-Levy, who of course is part of our polling unit, found. Just one single Republican said that the nation's top problem is in fact the Epstein case.
Damn! OMG. I'm so upset. As a member of the MAGA community, I almost wish Kamala Harris were president. No border crossings last month. None. Nada. Zip. Check. The worst of the worst, illegal aliens being deported. Check. Inflation tame. Iranian nuke program in shambles. The Iranian government may be on its last legs. $10 trillion in new foreign investment. Stock market hitting record highs. Handcuffs removed from Israel. Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis decimated. District judges imposing those nationwide injunctions, getting their wings clipped by the Supreme Court. Check, check, check. But hey, this Epstein stuff sure makes me wish I hadn't voted for Trump. You know, when I came back from a trip, I'm at the LAX, confronted by TMZ, and I was asked about Epstein. And I said, really? Out of all the reasons I wanted Trump reelected, the economy, inflation, borders, foreign policy, ending DEI, gas prices, egg prices, that business about Epstein didn't even make the list. Speaking of Epstein's list, if there is a list, I said, all I know, if there is a list, my name ain't on it.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
No, there is no client list. There never has been a client list. A client list suggests that Jeffrey Epstein made a list of people to whom he trafficked women. What there is a redacted FBI affidavit from accusers. There are several of them. From accusers that accuse Jeffrey, that accuse various people of having improper sex. And that has been redacted. The names of the people accused have been blacked out. Now, of course, because I was the lawyer and I did all the investigations, I know who all these people are. I could figure out, based on everything that I saw, who Mr. X is, Mr. Y is, and Mr. Z. I can tell you right now, none of them are public figures who are currently in office. Some of them were previously in office. Some of them are dead. But there is no client list. And the redactions
could be undone if you go to court. So many of the things that are being suppressed by two judges in Manhattan, and they're doing it largely to protect the alleged accusers who are, in the view of the judges, victims, even though we don't know what their actual status is. But the judges have issued orders, which is why I can't disclose things I'd love to disclose, saying that you can't disclose this information. But Pam Bondi and the Justice Department and Donald Trump are not responsible for that. I don't know of any information that they could disclose that they haven't disclosed. Now, maybe there is some, but I'm simply not aware of it. And so I think it's important to place the blame where the blame deserves to be placed.
Now, we know the Epstein case has been treated differently.
You've seen the news that Deputy Director Dan Bongino of the FBI is going to resign. Breaking news here at OMG, we've obtained audio of a current FBI agent. This is Deputy Senior National Intelligence Officer Rami Hassan of the FBI saying it is a, quote, show.
I'm with FBI. This is a show. I do a lot of kind of countering white supremacy thing. Although the last 2.5 years, I was at the White House. Yeah, and then kind of got moved back after with the new administration coming in. But yeah,
it's a small coincidence. But I've been watching the Epstein documentary.
When they were trying to release some of the files, like the White House was.
Oh yeah, no, it looks kind of messy.
Oh yeah, it's just messy. Like, because they even invited some of like the the influencers and like right-wing bloggers and to release the files. I was like, that seems a little weird. Just release it online.
Hassan confesses that law enforcement at the FBI, quote, turned a blind eye and, quote, missed things regarding the Jeffrey Epstein case.
You can see where law enforcement kind of either turn a blind eye or like miss things, and there's opportunities just from like hearing and listening.
You don't think something happened to him?
But I think he just killed himself. I mean, even the FBI came out and said he killed himself. I'm like, oh, okay. Not big on the conspiracy theories.
As for why there's been no full disclosure, remember Alan Dershowitz used to represent Jeffrey Epstein. And here's what he said about all this.
Let's get right to this. Generally, prosecutors share the evidence with the defense. So if there was a list, you would know about it. The FBI, DOJ says it doesn't exist. Is there an Epstein client list?
Absolutely not. There never has been. Jeffrey Epstein never made a list or created a black book or anything of any people who may have had improper sex with any of the young women. What did happen is the FBI interviewed people, and the courts, judges, redacted the names of some of the people from the FBI files and from other material that was presented to the court. I know who those people are because I obviously did a thorough investigation, and even though the names are redacted from context, I could figure out who they are. None of them are current public officials or elected officials or current prominent people. Some are dead, some are retired, but there are no smoking guns. Moreover, we don't know whether any of these allegations are true, because among the information that's been suppressed has been negative information about the accusers, because the courts have basically said, look, these accusers of victims, and we're not going to give their names, we're not going to give negative information about them. So what I've said from the very beginning is everything ought to be released. That is, every accused person's name, every accuser, all the information about the accusers, so that we in the court of public opinion can make our own assessment about whether or not these accusations are credible. Some are not. Obviously, we know that from experience.
Who is to blame?
Two federal judges in New York who have presided over these cases. And these judges have redacted the material, and the media could go to these judges now and under the First Amendment seek to have the names released. Now, it wouldn't be fair to release just the names of the people accused without also releasing information about the accusers so that fairly there can be an assessment. There are people out there who have gotten lots and lots of money from making accusations. Some are probably true, some may not be true, and the public has the right to judge that based on all the information, not just information selectively released by judges. We just don't know because there's never been a trial. Remember, the only thing Epstein has ever been convicted of, he pleaded guilty of 2 offenses, having massages from 2 women, one over the age of consent, one 17 and a half years old. Those are the only convictions. Then there was an indictment against him, which included many people, but that never came to trial. The only thing that went to trial was his former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, who's now serving a long prison sentence because Epstein's dead and she's the only person left to be tried. But you know, the idea that there are many, many people out there who are getting away with things, I've seen no evidence to support that.
Now, there is a mystery about whether Epstein killed himself.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. You want me to? I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
Well, listen, you know, I spent 7 months on that tier and in those cells. And the first thing I have to say, there's no way you are able to commit suicide. There's just no way. There's no way to hang yourself. There's nothing from the ceiling. There's nothing from the bed. You'd have to be a midget and work really hard to try to hang yourself. And I don't think you can accomplish it at that point. You know, as far as the cameras being off, I haven't experienced that. I did 8 years in prison, and I haven't experienced cameras being broken in the perfect storm of correctional officers not walking those cells. They walk in and they look in on you all the time. As a matter of fact, you know, sometimes it's embarrassing to go to the toilet because they're walking past you and looking in the cell constantly. So I've said this from day one. I do not believe it was suicide. I can't talk about what happened to him, but I don't believe it was a suicide because you just couldn't physically do it. It would be almost impossible to do it.
Now, about the alleged missing minute on the Epstein jail tape, by the way, Wired says it's not 1 missing minute, it's 3. Here's Pam Bondi.
And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing.
Now, Democrats, who during the whole 4 years of the Biden administration said absolutely jack about the Epstein files. Why? They assumed there was damning stuff that would hurt Democrats. After all the names you've heard so far, at least the famous ones, haven't they all been Democrats? But now that Trump, at least for now, hasn't fully disclosed the files, Democrats who said nothing for 4 years are assuming that there is something in there horrible about Trump. Trump derangement syndrome is causing them to say, there must be something sinister in there about Trump. So put it out.
This was a conspiracy that Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and these MAGA extremists have been fanning the flames of for the last several years. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. The American people deserve to know the truth. What, if anything, is the Trump administration and the Department of Justice hiding? What are you hiding? If you're not hiding anything, prove that to the American people. And if you are trying to hide something, as many of Donald Trump's MAGA supporters apparently believe, then the Congress should actually work hard to try to uncover the truth for the American people. There are only 2 things that are possible here. Option 1, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and the MAGA extremists intentionally lied to the American people for years about the Jeffrey Epstein situation. That's option 1. Option 2 is that, in fact, there's reason for the American people to be concerned as it relates to what information has not been released that could be damaging to the Trump administration and the friends and family of the Trump administration and their billionaire corrupt supporters. And so they're actively engaging in a cover-up. Option one, they lied for years. Option two, they're engaging in a cover-up. At this point, it seems reasonable that can only be one of the two things. And so it's Congress's responsibility in a bipartisan way to ask the questions and try to get answers on behalf of the American people.
Epstein died by suicide. Believe that and you must be blind. You've been telling us you released the file, but where are they? We've gone along with what's been told. We've had plenty of time, you're in control. But now you say you will withhold the Epstein file. Dreamsicle on a summer night in a folding armchair. Trump's howling at the moon. Release the Epstein file soon.
Well, what's crazy about the whole Epstein thing is that Democrats are screaming about inflation and losing our rights, and it's actually Republicans in my district who are going nuts over wanting these files released. I've never seen anything like it, and so I think what it is that they've put up with Trump's BS for so long that they've just snapped, that he feels a sense of betrayal, as Michael alluded to. So the way Democrats see it is this. Obviously, Donald Trump is not going to release this. Elon Musk has told us why. Kash Patel is not going to be fired by Donald Trump. He's just going to go all in for him and help bury these files beneath the earth. Republicans, though, who don't work for Donald Trump, who are their own branch of government in Congress, they have a subpoena power. And if they're not going to use it, as Leader Jeffries has said, Democrats are open to receiving this information and going as far as we can, and also promising in a majority that we will unearth what the public deserves to know.
Congressman, the New York Times headline today from David French was MAGA is tearing itself apart over Jeffrey Epstein. The Epstein story mattered so much in MAGA circles because it was a key element in their indictment of America's so-called ruling class. Trump's appeal to the Republican base isn't just rooted in his supporters' extraordinary affection for the man. It's also rooted in their almost indescribably dark view of the American government. We've all felt here that was just so poignant. I think that this is a split between the faithful and the furious. Those who are faithful to Donald Trump, who literally he could, folks across the country, even people in your district that are Republicans and aren't really keyed in on this story. They don't care about it, but they still support the president. And those are the faithful. But then you've got the furious, the folks in your district and so many others, the MAGA folks with the largest followings and the bullhorns, who are the most fervent supporters, who are upset because, as Tim noted, they feel like the president lied to them.
Yeah. It doesn't matter who you pray to or which jersey you wear in your politics, whether it's red or it's blue. You hate corruption. You hate corruption at the local level, the state level, and of course at the highest level. And if you see a country where there's unlimited money being spent in politics, there's dirty maps in its gerrymandering, that members of Congress are allowed to trade stocks, and now the president, who promised when he got into office he would tell you about this child sex trafficking ring and who was involved and who wasn't, and now he's buried it, perhaps because he may in some way be attached to it. You just hate that. And so this isn't about, as I said, political parties or your religion or your geography. It's just most people don't want their leaders to be corrupt, and he looks corrupt in what he's doing.
I think we should be releasing the files right now. Donald Trump is reaping what he sowed, and we should have a debate in Congress on this issue and have these files released now. We don't need to wait any longer. We need to get the information right now. His MAGA base is demanding a release of all of this information, and Democrats agree with Donald Trump's MAGA base. He's alone in a corner right now, blocking the release of this information.
I have a message to these Democrats. Be careful what you wish for, Again, from what I can tell, all the names, or at least the names that have been made public in the media connected to Epstein, have been Democrats. You know, people like Bill Gates and Bill Clinton.
And I listened to a lot of Democrats over the last 12 hours. You've got some saying, we're for openness, we're for transparency, release everything. Pedophiles shouldn't be protected. They sound, like they could be MAGA. Then you've got people like Dick Durbin, who was just on CNN, saying, well, Republicans wanted this, so now they have to do it. And then you've got Jeffrey saying, hoisted by their own petard, whatever. Like, what is the proper Democratic message in this situation right now?
I would just say transparency. I mean, it's always a good answer. I get it. There'll be Democrats that are probably going to be embarrassed. Some former officials that may not feel pretty good that, if that happened, but so be on the side of transparency always. That's what I would do. And look, I think one of the things that is also starting to happen is there are journalists that have spent years tracking down, on this issue, investigating it. And I heard one yesterday who said that Tara Palmieri, who people can think whatever they want, that some of the victims in their lawsuits got a hold of lists that some of these men, or the men that they serviced, for lack of a better term. And if that came out, it would be, according to Tara and some others, it would end a lot of very prominent people's careers.
Yeah.
When you hear that, people start hunting.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
So here's what one person who's watched this closely said to me. If you take Trump out of the equation and you look at all the other prominent men whose names have been raised, they're almost all Democrats.
Yes.
Like
name
a Republican who's been associated with it, the way like Bill Gates has.
Oh,
like,
I want to be very careful here.
Who's a Republican? Who's a Republican who was friends with Epstein, who borrowed money from him or asked him for money or banked with him? Name one.
I want to be very careful here because some of that's alleged.
Okay, all right, but
it's bipartisan. It's bipartisan.
Well, I don't know. I looked at the list of names of people publicly already associated.
Publicly, I think that's the key.
Yeah, publicly, and again, remember, like some people hit him up for money.
Yeah.
Right. Doesn't mean there was anything sexual, but his relationships the ones we know tended to be substantially more Democratic than Republicans. So what this person said is these Democrats who are now calling for a release of the lists maybe creating problems for a lot of Democrats and far fewer Republicans.
Mark, I totally agree with your analysis. I saw that.
It's not mine. It's my sources.
Okay, no, fine, but I agree. Like I will stipulate that the names that we're talking about are the ones that are in the public domain, at least largely, right? So, but that being said, I believe that Democrats are playing a risky game here, which is they don't believe that Republicans will ever do it or that the courts will ever allow it. Therefore, they're trying to play a little triangulation here, which is we get to say it, we know it'll never happen.
Right.
But I think this is like a lot of things. You better be careful because, to your point, if finally somebody flips and puts this out and goes, you called for it, Bill Gates is not going to be happy. Bill Clinton's not going to be happy. I'm sure there's a bunch of other bills.
There.
What?
Dan, I won't read aloud. Text me the name or names you're thinking of. I'm just curious. Just text that to me. Don't tell anybody.
So, stay tuned.
Did you know that trillions of data records were exposed in 2024? From the AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile data breach that exposed the text records of over 100 million Americans, to the Change Healthcare data breach, or even more recently, a hacking group claims to have stolen every single American Social Security number. People are confused, concerned, and off about the invasion of privacy that's currently going on. And yet, despite these concerns, many people continue to use messaging apps that claim to be private and secure. But are they? These apps also track your location, time spent on the app, your activities within the app, your browser, phone type, carrier, and even other identifiers such as your financial information and political affiliation. Newsflash, if you're not being charged for an app, you are the product. Your data is being collected and used, often without your permission and in ways you might not even realize. Here to tell you more is advisor, board member, and renowned radio and TV host, Larry Elder.
Freedom Chat is a private social messenger that allows you to message who you want and subscribe to the channels you want, all in complete and total privacy. With true end-to-end encryption, soon to be quantum-safe encryption, no storage of messages on your servers, and absolutely no commercial use of user data. Your conversations and your data belong to you, not big tech, not governments, not malicious hackers. Is Freedom Chat, Tanner, easy to use? Am I good at tennis? You see, with Freedom Chat, you can edit, unsend, and self-destruct messages, share images, videos, or GIFs.
It's GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
Really?
It's GIFs.
It's not GIFs?
No, it's GIFs.
When did they change it? Prevent screenshots and customize fonts and colors, and enable dark mode, all from one user-friendly dashboard.
Our team is working incredibly hard to make our dreams a reality, and we want you to join us.
Don't watch from the sidelines. Invest in freedom, invest in your privacy, and be a part of history.
Speak freely and message privately with Freedom Chat.
Download the app today. GIFs?
GIFs.
Honestly?
GIFs.
GIFs?
GIFs.
What does it stand for? It stands for I have a lot of choices about who I work with in the precious metals industry, and so do you. I really love the fact that for over 45 years, AmFed Coin and Bullion has been serving buyers and sellers of coins and precious metals. AmFed has earned a reputation for providing helpful information, transparency, and fair pricing. Nick Grovich is especially hands-on. He believes that educated consumers make strong investors. Nick is upfront and transparent about AmFed's commission structure. Their typical markup, only 3 to 7% compared to many dealers that may charge as high as 35% or even more. That is a remarkable difference. When you are choosing to invest in gold, it's important to be wise in whom you choose to execute that investment. Call AmFed Coin and Bullion today, 1-800-221-7694, or go to AmericanFederal.com. If you're in the Phoenix area, make an appointment to visit them in person as I did. You will be impressed. That's 1-800-221-7694, or go to AmericanFederal.com. So you heard me talk about Patriot Mobile for a while now. You probably already know that for years, they've stood in the gap for every American who believes that faith, family, and freedom are worth fighting for. They are the real deal. But did you know they've got cutting-edge technology too? Switching is easy. No store visits, no hassle. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based team can activate you in minutes right over the phone. And get this, Patriot Mobile is one of the few carriers with access to all 3 major U.S. networks. That means exceptional nationwide coverage, plus they can even put a second number on a different network on one phone. It's like carrying 2 phones in one. They have unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, internet on-the-go devices, and home internet backup. You can't get this from the big guys. So what are you waiting for? Make the switch today and experience the Patriot Mobile difference. Go to patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT, and right now use promo code Larry for a free month of service. Switch to Patriot Mobile and defend freedom with every call and text you make. That's patriotmobile.com/Larry or call 972-PATRIOT. Now, former President Joe Biden's doctor, rather than answer whether he was told to lie about Biden's mental state, refused to answer the question, citing not just doctor-patient privilege, but the Fifth Amendment. Doctor-patient is one thing, but whether someone told you to lie about Biden's condition has nothing to do with doctor-patient privilege.
Can the reporter please swear in the witness?
Will you raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly declare and affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go off the record. Dr. O'Connor, were you ever told to lie about the president's health?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer. I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
Let the record reflect that Dr. O'Connor has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Dr. O'Connor, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer, and I must rely on my lawyer's advice in this matter.
Dr. O'Connor, did you ever believe the president was unfit to execute his duties as president?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based on the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I'm not a lawyer, and I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
Let the record reflect that Dr. O'Connor has invoked the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. Dr. O'Connor, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer. I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
Dr. O'Connor, is it your intention to decline to answer all questions put to you today by the committee on the basis of the Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination?
On the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer based upon the physician-patient privilege and in reliance on my right under the Fifth Amendment of the Constitution. I am not a lawyer, and I must follow my lawyer's advice in this matter.
And we can tell you that he will have the same answer with respect to any questions that are asked.
Thank you, sir.
I can tell you exactly what happened. Dr. O'Connor pleaded the Fifth Amendment. This is unprecedented. And I think that this adds more fuel to the fire, that there was a cover-up.
I was talking to my doctor. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombach. You know my doctor? Yeah. Well, he told me last week in his office he got 6 cases of VD. I mean, he's all right now, you know. And my doctor, he don't help either. He told me to run 5 miles a day for 2 weeks. I called him up. I said, Doc, I'm 70 miles from my house. I'll tell you my trouble. I got the wrong doctor. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombach. You know my doctor? What a doctor, you kidding? What a doctor. I called him up, I told him I had diarrhea, put me on hold. Oh, he's a strange doctor.
Strange doctor.
Oh, you kidding? I asked him if my heart was strong enough for sex. He told me not if I join in, you know? I'll tell you my trouble, I got the wrong doctor. You know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombach. You know my doctor? What a doctor. Oh, I called him last week. I told him, Doc, I swallowed a bottle of sleeping pills. He told me to have a few drinks and get some rest.
Life's not easy.
Not easy. You can't trust doctors either. They're all mixed up. You
really
kidding?
think so, huh?
My proctologist used to be a photographer.
Yeah.
Hey, he took x-rays, told me to bend over and say cheese. Oh, one time I saw him, he gave me sleeping pills. He told me to take them whenever I wake up. When you know my doctor, Dr. Vinny Boombach. You know my doctor? But God, will you? What a doctor. He's really mixed up. He grabbed my knee and told me to cough and hit me in the balls with a hammer. Now, when I was born, after the doctor cut the cord, he hung himself. I tell you, my problem is I drink too much, way too much.
Yeah.
I get my doctor a urine specimen. There was an olive in it. My friend, Dr. Vinny Boombach.
Vinny Boombach, how is
Oh, he's okay, fine.
How is the good doctor?
He's not mixed up at all. He knows what he's doing every minute. He's busy writing.
Is he doing some new book, is he?
Oh, a new book just came out, a big book, Johnny. Love story.
Love story.
All about a girl who had a wild romance with an architect.
What's it called?
The book is entitled She Fell in Love with His High-Rise. Too deep, too deep.
Senator Rand Paul wants to hold Dr. Fauci criminally liable for his advice about COVID and about the vaccines. Yes, Fauci received a pardon, but Paul's argument is that because of Biden's mental decline and the use of the auto pen, the pardon is not valid.
And I think he's probably not criminally liable for saying stuff that made no scientific sense, like the whole wearing cloth masks over you. In all likelihood, people in America died because they took his advice, wore a cloth mask, they were 80 years old, and they took care of their spouse, and they got COVID anyway because cloth masks don't work. So it was bad advice. It was terrible advice, and we never should have hired him to be a public health expert. He also severely damaged a lot of our workers, the meatpacking workers, a lot of people who worked really hard in a messy industry. Once they had COVID, he should have told them, you know, in all likelihood, you're safe. Instead, he told them, no, now you still have to triple mask up. You have to be afraid. Your family has to be afraid. He really didn't do any of the things that a public health official should have done.
Now, if you think Paul is out on a limb about the things we were told about the vaccine, watch this OMG undercover video of a Johnson & Johnson lead scientist admitting the vaccine was not safe and effective, was not tested. We just put it out to see what would happen.
Deep inside Johnson & Johnson's global machine is a scientist, a lead scientist, whose very approval or disapproval of J&J products can change millions of American lives. Meet Joshua Rees, a lead regulatory scientist at Johnson & Johnson. Joshua, in his role, leads the creation and execution of regulatory strategies for new and existing products across Johnson & Johnson.
We run the whole soup to nuts. Like, not only are we working on the products, but like everything that has to do with the drug. We have to make sure you understand how to use the drug, how to be able to, you know, prescribe certain pieces of information, how to communicate that to the patient.
Now, according to a Johnson & Johnson press release from December 2021, the safety and well-being of those who use the Johnson & Johnson vaccine continues to be our #1 priority. Now, for the first time ever, an official from Johnson & Johnson admits to our hidden cameras that the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine was, quote, not safe and effective, unquote. And the company wanted to, quote, just throw the vaccine creation to the wind and see what happens, unquote.
You know, they're like, oh, Joe Biden says that it's safe and effective. But, like, he didn't know.
There's no proof. I mean, none of that stuff was safe and effective. We didn't do the typical test. Like, the typical process, that's why it takes so long to get a product on the market. The typical process is all this clinical trial testing and stuff in a small population. This was just, let's test it on some, you know, lab models, analyze and see if it works and stuff like that, and just throw it to the wind and see what happens.
People didn't know that. Like, the patients.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure somebody's going to get sued for that stuff eventually.
The lead regulatory scientist for Johnson & Johnson went into detail about how the federal government applied heavy pressure on Big Pharma in order to hastily create the Johnson & Johnson COVID vaccine, encouraging speed over efficacy or safety.
Do you have any idea the lack of research that was done on those products? Like, you shouldn't be surprised that this happened. It was pretty much the government kind of made a deal with pharmaceutical companies and kind of pressured the pharmaceutical companies, because we're not going to say no to the help, like the government. Like, the government's like, yo, these three big companies, we need help. We need to figure this out. You're solving this problem.
Was that Operation Warp Speed?
I mean, we basically just had a race to figure out who could solve it best. Like, people wanted it. We gave it to them.
The CDC has previously announced they're pulling the J&J vaccine from use in the United States. J&J claims this is due to the vaccine's declining use and the company's strategic shift away from the vaccines. But as you just heard, J&J's own regulatory scientist was well aware of the ineffectiveness of their own COVID vaccine.
There's something side effect that's going to happen. And it's more or less, all right, what's the worst side effect that's going to happen? And is that better than the benefit that the consumer is going to get? It's like, that's the interesting thing that I've found about it, because it's like, all right, you know what? Cancer patient's going to die anyway. So quality of life is the question in that instance, as opposed to whether you're curing something. You're not curing anything at that point. It's just, all right, are you going to have a nicer 6 months?
Now, I caught up with Joshua Rye in Toms River, New Jersey, on the Jersey Shore, to get clarification on what he meant by his comments on hidden camera. What led him to say this? What led him to tell a total stranger that his product was not safe and effective? Here's a little sneak peek of how this went. This is one of the most extraordinary interactions ever, maybe rivaling the one that I had with the other guy inside Pfizer back 2.5 years ago. Are you Josh Rice from Johnson & Johnson? You're going to deny your identity?
Yes, sir.
And you said that your vaccine was not safe and effective. You said that. You know, where is he going? He's going to run away. He's going in the women's restroom. Are you confused? I am a human man. I am allowed to take a pee in the man's restroom. You shouldn't be surprised that this happened. We have no idea. People, I got it from your mouth.
No.
Stand behind what you said and explain to us what you meant by it.
And you've also been asked a number of times about the vaccine and vaccine mandates. Were you the one that recommended to the president to mandate vaccines for certain individuals?
No.
Do you know who did?
No, it was more of a it was a combination of a group and just saying that, you know, certain agencies like the Labor Department or what have you would feel that this would be done. But it was not like I one day said, hey, we should mandate vaccines. That did not happen.
They're not doing it because they say they don't want to do it. They're Republicans. They don't like to be told what to do. Right. And we got to break that, you know, unpack that.
How you guys doing with vaccine?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for them to be able to.
Oh, you should get it first. Okay, that way you won't give it to them.
Oh, I thought I would give it to them as I get it.
No, not at all. In fact, we got to get you vaccinated so that if you were to get infected, you could pass it on to them. So you're actually protecting your family by getting him vaccinated.
Well, I heard that it doesn't cure it and it doesn't stop you from getting it.
No.
So
on the very, very, very rare chance that you do get it, even if you're vaccinated, you don't even feel sick. It's like you don't even know you got infected. It's very, very good at protecting you.
Just the Anacostia, so get up there. Okay.
All right, see you later.
Thank you. Have a good day.
The people in America are not settled with the information that's been given to us right now. So I'm not going to be lining up taking a shot on a vaccination for something that wasn't clear in the first place. And then you all create a shot in miraculous time. It takes years to create vaccination.
Well, it used to take years.
Okay, it used to.
You know how many years were invested in this approach? About 20 years of science to get us to be able to do it.
20 years is not enough. And 9 months is definitely not enough for nobody to be taking no vaccination that you all came up with.
The only reason I'm talking to you right now, as close as we are, is that I've been vaccinated.
Right.
But if it allows thousands of people like you don't get vaccinated, you're going to let this virus continue to percolate in this country and in this world.
Something like the common flu then, right?
And not
it's
like
much
the
more
common
serious than the flu.
Well, the flu kills a lot of people annually, too.
You know how many people died of the flu the last year? I mean, not this year, virtually none, but the previous year, about 20 to 30,000. You know how many people have died from COVID-19 in the United States? 600,000 Americans.
Well, the number that you all giving that died, that's once again, that's you all's number.
You gonna pass?
Yeah, definitely. Because when you start talking about paying people to get vaccinated, when you start talking about incentivizing things to get people vaccinated, there's something else going on with that. Something else going on.
It is something going on.
There's something else.
You're right. But I'm glad millions of people like me and most everybody here didn't get an incentive. You know what their incentive was? Protecting their health and protecting the city. But I won't keep you anymore.
It's okay, because my incentive, y'all campaign is about fear. It's about inciting fear in people. You all attack people with fear. That's what this pandemic is. It's a fear. It's fear, this pandemic. That's all it is.
Meanwhile, guess who's singing a different tune on borders, even to the point of citing the Trump line, if you don't have borders, you don't have a country?
We need to be talking about are the things that people do care about. Immigration. I think, and I said this very directly to President Biden, that I think the Democrats have missed on the issue of immigration for some years. They did try to get a deal.
They underestimated the anger? Is that what it is?
No, they just allowed the border to continue to be under siege. And
that's quite a word.
I think the first words, the first thing any president should say, any president, or anybody in public life, is, without a border protected, you don't have a nation. I believe that. You're going to define your nation, you have to have a border that means something. And there's a reason we have passports. There's a reason we have visas. We have a system. And the president, I wish President Biden had been heard more often saying, I'm going to enforce the law.
If Donald Trump were out on the veranda there, looking out over the sea, and he turned around and came in this room and said, there you are, I was right all along. That's what he would say.
Well, he was right. The problem is we all should have been right. Everybody should have been right.
If I had to find something in that, the big, beautiful bill that I could support that, and that's a mistake that our party made, and that's the border. I absolutely support those kinds of investment to make our border security as well now, too. Our party, that's when I've lost some support in my party, that I thought the border was really important, and our party did not handle the border appropriately. Look at the numbers. 267,000, 300,000 people showing up at our border, and we can all agree that's roughly the size of Pittsburgh. Now that's unacceptable, and that's national security issue, and that's chaos.
Kerry is certainly right that you don't have a country without borders. If you have borders, you should enforce that border. Democrats have not done as good a job as they should, period. End of discussion. That's correct. But I will tell you something else. In this country right now, you have millions and millions of people who came from Latin America or wherever, who are working in meatpacking plants. They're harvesting crops. They've been in this country for years. They're law-abiding.
Oh, just 4 years and maybe 20 million illegal aliens too late. And that's on top of the maybe 20 or 25 million illegal aliens already here. Think that number's too high? Recall the study done years ago by these professors.
Conventional estimates provided by both the Pew Foundation and also the Center for Migration Studies suggest that number is a little over 11 million. And those figures are arrived at via surveys where people are actually questioned as to whether or not they were born outside of the United States and whether they are citizens. What we have done is something quite different. We have not administered surveys. Rather, we have collected both operational data, such as deportations and visa overstays, and demographic data, such as death rates and immigration rates, and combine these using a demographic model that follows a very simple logic, which is that the population at some point in time is equal to whatever that initial population was, plus everyone who came in, minus everyone who goes out. It's that simple. That's essentially what the model does. We discover that the survey-based result that there are 11.3 million undocumented immigrants seems to fall far short. We have a conservative estimate that says the number is at least 16.7 million, and over 1 million different scenarios, accounting for all of the variability in the various parameters that we need for this model. On average, we're estimating something like 22 million undocumented immigrants in the United States.
Do the math. This means there may be as many as 50 million illegal aliens in the country as we speak. Now, this doesn't matter to the hard, numbskull left that doesn't make a distinction between illegal aliens and legal immigrants.
Part of this is a backlash to how badly Biden handled the immigration situation. It can't just be like come one, come all, which
Dude,
it was.
There's plenty of room here, and we need
room.
There's plenty of room in America. Come on, there's not a lack of room in America.
But it's never about room. It's about resources and about like having countries have to have a border. It just can't be. I mean, they've done surveys and something like 200 million people around the world, when asked, would you come to America if you could? Yes, I would. Why wouldn't they? Lots of countries, are holes,
right,
and they would love to be here.
Hey, let them all in.
Jordan.
Yeah.
Why'd you come to Egypt? Why'd you come to America?
For a job.
For a job?
Yeah.
You know it's illegal to cross the border like this, right?
Yeah.
You don't care?
Yes, I'm okay.
Hi guys, where are you guys from?
Egypt.
What country? Egypt?
Egypt.
Where are you from? What country?
I am from Turkey.
Turkey?
Yeah.
All Turkey?
Kurdish. Yeah. America. I love America. I love you. I love you, America.
Where are you from?
From Egypt.
Egypt.
I love
Okay.
America.
Egypt. We got some pretty stunning data from our CBP contacts. Since October 1st here in San Diego sectors, there's been about 260,000 illegal immigrants apprehended by Border Patrol. We're told of that number, 78% of them have been released into the United States. And we're told that's primarily because a lot of the people crossing here are coming from countries where it is very difficult to deport people. They're not afraid of deportation. You heard that Jordanian guy tell me when I asked him, you don't care about crossing illegally? He says, yes, I don't care. Where are you from?
Pakistan.
Pakistan. How did you get here?
Just I crossed the border.
I know you crossed the border. Where'd you fly into? How did you get here?
I came from the Brazil.
From Brazil, okay. Why did you come to the U.S.?
For the job, for work.
You want to work. You know it's illegal to come here across the border like this, right?
Yeah.
Not a big deal?
No.
Guys, good afternoon to you. This is a wild situation to see from the air. We reported earlier that the FAA grounded our Fox News drones. We cannot fly those well. The troopers with Texas DPS are kind enough to let us go up in their helicopter with them to get a look at the situation at this bridge right now. Take a look, 11,000 miles Mexico into Del Rio right here, and they are waiting underneath the international bridge, waiting to be processed by Border Patrol. Look at the mass of people down there. This time 2 days ago, there were just over 4,000 people. There are now upwards of 11,000. We are talking nearly a tripling of the numbers in just 48 hours or so. You can get a real good perspective from the air right here of how many people are constantly streaming in. Our pilot's going to take us up this dirt path a little bit here so you can see why this crowd here just keeps getting so much bigger. These are mostly Haitian immigrants, but take a look at this as we move up the Rio Grande right here. That Mexican town that you're looking across the river, that is Ciudad Acuña. That is the Mexican city where all these migrants are gathering. And you can see they're using this dam right here to walk across the Rio Grande and enter the United States illegally. They then use a dirt path that's right below us, and they stream into the international bridge area. We are talking thousands of people showing up every single day here. The problem is what's happening, the reason why they're all congregated underneath that bridge is Border Patrol doesn't have enough agents to process these folks. They're completely overwhelmed. Their holding facilities are completely over capacity. Ryan, take a look there. You got more people crossing the Rio Grande right there.
From Egypt. From Egypt? Yes. All from Egypt?
Yeah, group Egypt.
Egypt.
Good America.
Egypt.
America good.
Good America?
Yes. Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Why'd you come to America?
And business and the group.
You want to work? Job?
Work, yeah.
Job.
This friend. Yes.
Group of friends, you guys want a job?
Yes. America good. America good. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
America good.
I'm from Turkey.
Vietnam.
Vietnam. All from China?
Yeah.
Why'd you come to America?
For free.
To be free?
Yes.
Here in Lukeville, we are quite literally in the middle of nowhere. 2.5 hours to the closest major city. Thousands are crossing here illegally every day, and the situation is completely unsustainable. We'll step out, give you a look at the scene here. This is a mass of hundreds upon hundreds of people who have crossed the border illegally and are camped out here at the border wall, waiting to be apprehended by Border Patrol. You'll quickly notice these are all single adult men. There is not a single woman or child in this group you're looking at, and these guys are coming in from all over the world. Large amounts of African men from Senegal, from Guinea, from Mauritania, from Egypt, others from the Middle East, others from Asia. This is Border Patrol's Tucson, Arizona sector, which just had 17,500 illegal crossings last week alone. That is the highest weekly total ever recorded. Border Patrol needs a lot of help. Every time they fix a hole in the border wall, smugglers cut it elsewhere, and there are more mass illegal crossings. You mentioned those single adult men crossing. Take a look behind us. These guys all waiting for processing, coming in from all over the world. See if we can talk to a few of them real quick. Sir, where are you from? What country?
India.
India. Where do you want to go in the United States?
California.
California? What city?
No.
You don't know yet? And why'd you decide to come? You want to work?
Work, yeah.
Work? Gotcha. Sir, where are you from?
Me, I'm from Senegal.
Senegal.
Yeah.
You want to go to New York?
Yeah, I want to go there.
And why'd you come to the United States?
Because it's the peace country and it's the democracy also. That's why we want to be here to continue what we are planning our life, because we see so many people who is here and the life is very great.
Did you pay anybody to come here, any smugglers?
No, I was trying myself because I was work hard and the things is very hard to me. I struggling so much. Then I do my best to see here in America is so much democracy we see all over in the world.
Okay, so here for opportunity, democracy, that sort of a thing. Anybody else here from Senegal? Senegal. Senegal? Got a few hands raised up. Where in the United States do you guys want to go to? What cities? New York? New York?
Michigan.
Michigan. Where in Michigan?
For meet my big brother.
For your brother. Your brother's in the U.S.?
Yeah, my big brother.
Sir, where do you want to go?
Don't speak English.
No English, okay. Español aquí?
Español.
Dominican.
Dominicano.
¿Y a dónde vas en los Estados Unidos?
A Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. Okay, so you get a flavor right there of some of the places these folks want to go. We want to show you some video we shot late yesterday afternoon before sunset. We talk about those wall breaches. Take a look at this. There was another cut in the border wall here in Lukeville. You'll see on the right side of your screen illegal immigrants pouring in through the breach in that wall. Hundreds of them end up coming through. Border Patrol overwhelmed in the area. You'll see them start walking down the border road, waiting to be processed, looking for Border Patrol to turn themselves in. This sort of thing happens every single day out here. In the last 24 hours, Border Patrol alone has made more than 10,000 apprehensions of illegal immigrants. That does not even include CBP ports of entry, and you can see the situation here in Lukeville behind us. We got well over 800 people waiting in line here after they crossed illegally overnight, waiting to be apprehended by Border Patrol. Once again, it's like deja vu from yesterday. You can see these guys are coming in from all over the world, a lot of African men, mostly single adult men here. Some of them were setting campfires overnight in the cold, camping out here, waiting to get taken into custody by Border Patrol. But CBP sources telling me in the last 24 hours in this Tucson, Arizona sector, there were almost 2,900 apprehensions, and the Border Patrol facilities out here are currently running 200% of their capacity. That is why there are so many people out here waiting to be taken into custody by Border Patrol. Now, Arizona has a Democrat governor. Her name is Katie Hobbs. She has not yet sent any state resources down here. No Arizona troopers, no Arizona National Guard. That's unlike what we've seen in the state of Texas with Governor Greg Abbott. Well, Governor Hobbs is calling for more federal action when it comes to helping in Arizona. Take a listen.
We need the federal government to act and provide more resources, and we've been very clear about that. There's a lot more they could be doing, both the Biden administration, and again, I know this is beating the drum that we've been beating for decades, but we need comprehensive immigration reform to really thoroughly address this issue.
And as people continue pouring into the country, so too are narcotics. Take a look at this image out of Nogales, Arizona, a couple hours away from us. CBP officers at the port of entry there stopping a car and finding over 1 million fentanyl pills hidden in that smuggler's vehicle. Thankfully, they were able to seize that. Then we want to take you back to this video from yesterday. Take a look at this. We showed you these images yesterday of illegal immigrants pushing through a breach in the border wall that had been cut through by smugglers. This happened right in front of Border Patrol. All these people came spilling through the wall trying to take advantage of the situation. Then a human smuggler looks at our camera, gives us a shrug, and salutes us.
They just allowed the border to continue to be under siege. And
that's quite a word.
I think the first words, the first thing any president should say, any president, or anybody in public life, is without a border protected, you don't have a nation. I believe that. You're going to define your nation, you have to have a border that means something.
Quick word about climate change alarmism. It ain't working.
Are Americans afraid of climate change? And the answer is Americans aren't afraid of climate change. Climate activists have not successfully made the case to the American people. I want you to take a look here. Greatly worried about climate change. We have data going all the way back since 1989. Look at that. It was 35%. 2000, 40%. 2020, 46%. And 2025, 40%, which is the exact same percentage as back in 2000. Despite all of these horrible weather events, the percentage of Americans who are greatly worried about climate change has stayed pretty gosh darn consistent, which kind of boggles the mind a little bit. Granted, everything that we see on our television screens, our computer screens, the hurricanes, tornadoes, the flooding, but yet greatly worried about climate change, 40% in 2025, the exact same percentage as back in 2000.
Define for this committee what homicide means.
Oh, sure. So homicide is a legal term that refers to, it's essentially a blanket term for any form of unlawful killing. And an unlawful killing is causing death with a culpable mental state. Causing a death means substantially contributing to it or accelerating it. And a culpable mental state could be negligence, knowledge, recklessness.
So you wrote an article in 2023 entitled, quote, Climate Homicide, Prosecuting Big Oil for Climate Deaths. In that article, you argue that oil and gas executives could be prosecuted, not just sued, but criminally prosecuted for homicide, for murder, based on climate change. Is that right?
That's right. I mean, I would be careful with the wording because murder, again, is a technical term. And definitely we're not arguing that they could be prosecuted for first-degree murder. That's killing with, intent.
But you want to put them in prison for homicide, lock them up, treat them as criminals, put them in. Murderers people who commit homicide get put in jails with violent criminals. And your position is this is a reasonable and rational thing that we should put the people leading the energy companies in America, producing 8.5 million jobs, we should arrest them and throw them in jail. Is that correct?
It could be the case that some executives should be prosecuted in that way. Of course, you can't put a corporation in jail, so there are other remedies in that situation.
But you can put human beings in jail, and presumably you'd put the corporate officers in jail.
Yes, you can.
You'd prosecute them for murder. So don't let there be any ambiguity. And by the way, Senator Whitehouse was really eager to make clear that you're the minority witness. You're the witness he wanted. He was eager to introduce you. I'm going to go on the record as saying that is a moonbeam wacky theory that you want to prosecute people creating jobs and producing energy for murder. Let me ask you, Mr. Arkush, how did you get to the Capitol today?
So here's what I want to tell you.
How did you get to the Capitol today?
I took an Uber.
You took an Uber.
Yep.
Now, was that in an automobile?
Yes.
Did that automobile have gasoline in it?
Yes. This is very, very cute. I see where this is going.
So I'm glad you think it's cute. Under your theory, you emitted carbon emissions.
Yep.
Should you be arrested in this room right now and prosecuted for murder?
No.
Why?
That's not what the law holds.
So tell me why, because you're willing to say the guy who sold you the gasoline should be prosecuted for murder. You're the one that benefited from it. Couldn't you have ridden a bicycle or maybe like some fairy dust to get here?
The guy who sold the gas and 50 years ago knew that it was going to cause globally catastrophic damage that would cause problems for humanity.
But you have exquisite knowledge of this. You were saying you were an expert. So on mens rea, you have a level of culpability because you claim that the act of getting in that car was violence, it was murder, that you should be locked up. Why do you get to violate these principles in a way that you just want to lock up the person who sold you the gas but not the beneficiary of it?
That's your claim, not mine, because to be liable, there are a bunch of reasons, but one of them is you have to substantially contribute to the harm, to the death.
Okay,
and
so
how
many car rides is substantially? Is it one? Is it two? Is it 10? How many?
A single individual couldn't possibly contribute enough. The point is...
Well, what about if, say, you're a Democrat politician who
do you
flies...
Do you want me to answer
What about if you're a Democrat politician who flies private jets?
It would be helpful if you're asking the questions. Doesn't he get to answer them?
He gets to answer them in my time, just like he gets to answer them in your time when you are asking them.
Seems like I don't.
So what about Democrat politicians who fly private planes all the time? People like John Kerry, who say, for someone like me, a private jet is the only reasonable way to travel. John Kerry has the climate footprint of a small town in Tennessee. Would you prosecute John Kerry for murder?
So depending on how you calculate it, U.S. fossil fuel or the oil majors, private oil majors,
So
are responsible for around half of global emissions.
My question was, would you prosecute John Kerry for murder?
Obviously not. No.
Okay, so Democrat politicians are exempted.
There is no individual.
Democrat activists are exempted.
I'm not going after people for carbon footprints. The whole thing is actually.
Well, why not, though? Under your principle, carbon is killing us. You claim it is homicide. By the way, this is a whack job theory. You teach in law school. If one of your law students wrote this on an exam, any law professor, General Kobach, you were a law professor for years. If I wrote, it's homicide, lock him up, what grade would you give me and why?
It wouldn't be a good one. And part of the problem here is the same problem that the Baltimore judge, in rejecting all of the 8 claims brought by the city of Baltimore, pointed out with regard to public nuisance theory. And that is, it's not just the company that took the oil out of the ground. The individual consumer made a choice to use it as well. She said she dismissed all of their claims, rejected their attempt to stretch public nuisance doctrine to cover, quote, the results of fossil fuel usage and gas emissions by third parties located all over the world. You can't put the blame either in a homicide case or in a public nuisance case just on the company that extracted the oil from the ground, because everybody's using it and we're all involved in it, and that's why it doesn't fit homicide easily and it doesn't fit public nuisance easily either.
With all respect, I don't think that Mr. Kobach is familiar with the relevant law in this case. A defendant in a homicide case can't defend by saying somebody used my products exactly as I intended them to while I was lying to them about
So you're saying we should prosecute you for murder?
No.
Because you drove an automobile here?
No. I'm saying.
Well, you said you couldn't use a defense. The fact that someone else does it,
I'm saying
you contributed. You're a murderer. Under your wacky theory, you're a murderer too.
I'm not sure I should be trying to speak. Can I finish a sentence?
For once, we agree. Senator Whitehouse.
Tough day at the office for the law professor. We know now that when they told us COVID was going to kill us unless we all got vaccinated, that was merely a communications problem.
What I think was unfortunate, frankly, and this was a communications problem, was that they seemed to also intimate that it would protect you from getting COVID at all, from carrying it. And there was not great evidence behind that. And, we reported as such that you don't have great evidence that shows that. When you have a vaccine that's protecting it against illness, it's usually protecting in your lower respiratory, in your lungs. So you're not getting that really, really sort of a deep illness, but you might still have it in your mucosa, in your mouth, in your nose, in your upper airway. So you could potentially still be carrying it and still potentially spread it. That was, I think, a communications error. And I think, frankly, Governor, I think it led to a lot of distrust overall of these mRNA vaccines. You said I couldn't get COVID if I got this. Well, I got COVID and I spread it. So what is this? Is this a vaccine or is it not a vaccine? That was a problem.
Really? A communications problem?
You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
Say that one more time. You're okay. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Yeah.
My agenda is crime. My agenda is homelessness. My agenda is the way the state was shut down.
That agenda, says Elder, includes rolling back the state's COVID restrictions, vowing to repeal mask and vaccine mandates for California state workers.
Will you follow the science? I'm going to follow the science. I don't believe the science suggests that young people should be vaccinated. I don't believe the science suggests that young people should have to wear masks at school. I'm not sure the science is settled on that at all. And young people are not likely to contract the coronavirus. And when they do, their symptoms are likely to be mild, and they're not likely to be hospitalized, and they're certainly not likely to die.
The science says he's wrong on several counts.
I guess my apology is in the mail. Finally, a quick word about the possibility of New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani.
So this is a question for the Prime Minister. The likely next mayor of New York City is Zoran Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, the local critic of Israel and of yourself, and has said he would arrest you if you came to New York City if he was mayor. Is that something you take seriously, or are you concerned about that? Do you have a response to that?
No, I'm not concerned about that.
I'll get him out.
Look, there's enough craziness in the world, but I guess it never ends. I mean, you have this is folly, and it's it's silly in many ways because it's just not serious. But what is serious is the question I was asked before. You know, after October 7th, people said the Palestinians had a state, Hamas state in Gaza, and look what they did with it. They didn't build it up; they built down into bunkers, into terror tunnels. After which they massacred our people, raped our women, beheaded our men, invaded our cities and our towns and our kibbutzim, and did horrendous massacres, the kind of which we didn't see since World War II and the Nazis, the Holocaust. So people aren't likely to say, let's just give them another state, it'll be a platform to destroying Israel. We'll work out a peace with our Palestinian neighbors, those who don't want to destroy us, and we'll work out a peace in which our security, the sovereign power of security, always remains in our hands. Now, people will say it's not a complete state, it's not a state, it's not that. We don't care. You know, we vowed never again. Never again is now. It's not going to happen again.
So we'll see you in New York next year?
Oh, well, look, I'm going to come there with the President Trump, and we'll see how do you know who the mayor will be? I don't know that. Do we know that?
He's going to be very fine, and who knows? We don't know who the mayor's going to be yet. But this is a communist. He's not a socialist. He's a communist, and he said some really bad things about Jewish people, and he said some really bad things about a lot of people. And I think he's going through a little bit of a honeymoon right now, but he might make it. But, you know, it all comes through the White House. He needs the money through the White House. He needs a lot. He's going to behave. He'll behave. He better behave, otherwise he's going to have big problems. But it's a philosophy that this country is not ready for, and it never will be.
Gotta love AI.
Did you guys see Brittany Griner calling me a fucking white girl the other day? What a disgrace. That transvestite donkey witch fouls out and goes back to her bench and whines like a little baby. Just watch.
Trash. White girl.
Absolutely pathetic. Brittany's got quite a big mouth for someone who literally got thrown in a Russian prison camp because she was smuggling drugs around overseas like some kind of hood rat. She's a national embarrassment, and most Americans didn't even want her back. But that cancer-riddled softy Biden caved and traded her for essentially one of the worst weapons dealers on earth. Was the dumbest front office move America ever made. And if I was president, I would have let her rot. Anyways, maybe if Brittany wasn't so unlikable, she wouldn't have to go ball in Siberia during the off-season. She's just poor and jealous of the white mamba, and that's why she opened her mouth. I feel fucking sorry for her.
Welfare dependency can't be explained much better than this.
The food stamps program is administered by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. They proudly report that they distribute free meals and food stamps to 46 million people on an annual basis. Meanwhile, the National Park Service, ran by the U.S. Department of Interior, ask us to please do not feed the animals when we visit the parks. Their stated reason for this policy is being that the animals will grow accustomed and dependent on the handouts, and they will never learn to take care of themselves.
Hope you enjoyed We've Got a Country to Save, brought to you by Freedom Chat. Freedom Chat is true end-to-end encryption, no storage of messages on the server, and no commercial use of user data. Speak freely and message privately. Download the app today and subscribe to my Freedom Chat channel at Larry Elder for exclusive posts and never-before-seen content. We also thank Patriot Mobile and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast. Make sure to follow or subscribe to my channel on whatever platform you are using, whether X, YouTube, Facebook, or Rumble. Please patronize our sponsors so we can keep bringing you these incredible videos. And remember, we've got a country to save. And don't forget, LarryOldashop.com.